Hey guys, welcome back to this little video that we're doing. Isla's on the floor over here and she's gonna listen to me as well talk about books, but she probably won't do anything or say anything. Anyway, today we're doing a mid-year reading tag and we're just gonna talk about some of my fave books, fave characters, just favorite things about the books I read this year, which is so exciting. Yay! I'll insert the questions down below into the description. I got these questions from Sarah Caroli when she did her little book tag, mid-year book tag, so you can watch that if you want to. But that's the vibes. Let's get started. The first question is the best book I've read in 2025. So just my favorite read so far, ate it up, left no crumbs. And that book is, drumroll, she didn't do a good drumroll, The Ballad of Never After. I thought this book was so good. The trilogy is so good. I ate it up, loved the characters, loved the plot. I just thought it was so interesting and so cutesy, and the slow burn was slow burning. The fantasy-esque vibe of it I just thought was so cute and really put me in that mood. I will say though, it was kind of like set in like the winter time, so I wish I would have read it in the winter time, but that's okay. I still ate it up. Will I reread it in the winter? Maybe, because I really liked it. But yes, that is my favorite book I've read in 2025 so far. Maybe we'll have a new one. Who knows? I have lots of books in my TBR that I need to read this year. But for now, that's it, and we shall see. Who knows if something will pass it? Maybe it's just so good that it'll just stay up there. So, that's that book. Next question is the best sequel I've read so far this year. And that, this is kind of funny. That is also The Ballad of Never After. It was so good. The Ballad of Never After just like really made the series for me, and it was just so good. I thought the whole storyline, and like with the first book we kind of get little bits of the main plot within the second book, but it doesn't really get into it until the second book, and we learn so much lore, which I thought was so interesting, so cool. And I don't know, it just really hit for me, really hit that mark, and I loved it. No words. It was just so good. Third question is new release that I haven't read yet, but I want to. And that is A Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. That I've read, how many books of hers? 1, 2, 3, 2, 4. 4 books of hers. I still haven't read Funny Story yet either. I need to read both of them, but I really want to read A Great Big Beautiful Life because I've heard it's very different from her other books. And I will say with a lot of her books, they don't really hit for me, just like with the whole miscommunication. It really frustrates me. So I'm like, everyone's saying that it's like different than her other writing and it's not as romancy. It intrigues me, and I'm hoping that that one really hits the mark for me, because everyone has their Emily Henry book that they love oh so much, and that hasn't really happened for me yet, and I need it to happen because I need an Emily Henry book to change my life. Maybe this will do it. This will hit the mark for me, maybe. But so far, favorite Emily Henry book is Book Lovers. But still, that just was like, felt very basic romancy. It didn't really hit that mark for me quite yet. I have better romances up my sleeves. So that is definitely on the TBR for this year that I need to read. Ovs Kebabs. My most anticipated release for the second half of the year is Wildcard by Elsie Silver. I've read all of the Rose Hill series so far. My favorite is Wild Side. Yes, Wild Side, her most recent one. I thought that one was really good. I love Tabitha and Reese. And the plot to Wild Card intrigues me because it's age gap romance. And I will say, I'm not an age gap girly. It just sometimes it rubs me the wrong way, doesn't really hit the mark, and there's like something crazy within that romance that's a little intriguing for me, but I don't really have the highest hopes for it just because I'm not an age gap girly. But who knows? Maybe this will change my perspective, and I'm excited to read and finish off the series because I've got to know these characters and I really enjoy the friend group and the found family within it. So fingers crossed this one is oh so good. I eat it up. We shall see though. My biggest surprise of a book that I read didn't really go into it with the thought that I would necessarily not like it, not dislike it. I didn't think I would dislike it. Just I didn't go into it believing that I would like it as much as I did. And that book is Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. I went into it, I was reading it, it was very slow in the beginning, and I feel like with the introduction to Miles, he just didn't have the best introduction, and he kind of like, how do I describe it? He wasn't my favorite. I didn't really like him in the beginning, but as the story went on, you could kind of like, you really got to know him. I just think he was so patient, so sweet, so genuine, and he's book boyfriend material. That man is so perfect, and I just think the whole story was very realistic, and he was so understanding with the circumstances, and I just think the progression of their relationship from like the beginning with them not necessarily getting along to them becoming like best friends to their romance, like the slow burn was just so good and very realistic in my eyes, and I just thought it was the sweetest story ever. Like I ate that book up. I will say I did rate it 4.75 stars, but I fear with a reread it could be a 5-star, possibly. So maybe we'll reread this year, if not next year. I definitely do want to reread, but it wasn't a 5-star upon like the first read, which is okay. I still ate that book up, and it did better than I thought it would. So you should definitely read. I do recommend. My favorite author out of like a debut author or new author, I was surprised by this one because I started reading her books beginning of this year. Yes, the beginning of this year. Didn't really know she was a very popular author, I'm not even gonna lie. And then there's books from her that are on my TBR for the rest of the year. I'm thinking wintertime I shall dive more into her because I just feel like she isn't very much of a summer read, but that is none other than R.F. Kuang. I read the Poppy War trilogy this past winter. It was so good. It was intense, emotional. It broke my heart and smashed it up. It just like, it gave me very much AOT vibes, and I love Attack on Titan. That whole series is so good, and just like those aspects of AOT is very prevalent in the Poppy War trilogy, and it was just so freaking good. I really loved the characters, but also I was like, ooh, the decisions they would make weren't the best, but I feel like I really got to know the characters and grow with them and like see their experiences, and the things that they would go through were actually terrible and traumatizing, and I feel like I lived that with them. And I'm excited to get more into R. Kwong's writing. I want to read Babel so bad, like next read possibly, soon, maybe, who knows, but definitely new favorite author on the freaking list. I love her writing. I think she ate so hard. This one's so exciting. Oh my god. Newest fictional crush. Can we guess? Who do you think it is, Tyler? I don't think she'll guess it. Newest most fictional crush, Jax from Once Upon a Broken Heart. That man. I have a book boyfriend list, if you don't already know. Every single time there's a new book boyfriend, I add them to the list, and I've ranked them from favorite to least favorite, like, out of my book boyfriends. Keith, obviously at the top. No one will ever surpass him. Hopefully. That man is my main bitch. He's been my main bitch since 5th grade. Jax, though, he's second on the list. He was just too good. I feel like he just really gives me Keith vibes. But he's like older Keith. But he's also reminds me a lot of Damon from Vampire Diaries. So, I love him. I love him. The slow burn. Oh my god. And he's so misunderstood. Oh my gosh. This man. I need him so freaking bad. New book boyfriend. I will think about him all the time, talk about him all the time whenever I have the opportunity. So, I love him. Next is a book that made me cry, and I actually have this book. A lot of the books that I've listed, I've read on my Kindle. But I actually have this book. And the book that made me cry was The Book Thief. This story, like, changed my soul, my whole being. I've read this before. I read this in middle school, and devastated then, devastated now. Like, the characters that you meet in this book, you really get to know. And just, like, the heartbreak at the end, like, I feel like my whole fucking heart was ripped out when I was reading this, sobbing at the end of this freaking book. Why is she barking? I still think about this almost every single day. It just, like, changed my perspective on life. I feel like it doesn't even foreshadow. It, like, tells you what's gonna happen at the end throughout the entire book, but then as you're reading, you kind of forget what happens. And then once you read that ending point, you just get heartbroken, and your whole life is shattered into pieces because of this. Like, I don't think I'll ever recover. I was sobbing for like 20 minutes while reading this. I had to take so many breaks because I just could not see through my tears. That's how devastating it is. But it's so good, and it's such a beautiful story. It's so beautiful. Wonderful. The characters are great. It just, like, changed my perspective on life, and I have no words for how else to describe this. You need to read it. 5 freaking stars. Will never emotionally recover from this. Now, not with the sad books anymore. We're going to talk about the books that made me happy, or the book that made me happy this year. And that book is One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. Oh my freaking gosh. Charlie, he is just so wonderful. The banter in the book just had me giggling and kicking my feet. I just think they were so cute, so wonderful, so lovely, and I think the progression of their relationship was really sweet. And some of the events that occurred weren't the happiest, and I was a little bit sad, but overall, such a sweet story. They're so cute. And it's like a cute little summer read. Like, that book is like the epitome of summer. So good, so cute, should definitely read. I love Charlie. He was great. Literally, their whole, like, every single time they'd flirt, I was so happy, giggling, kicking my feet. Binge read that book. So cute. Definitely pick it up and read it. And the most beautiful book I have bought this year, or received. I think this cover is so beautiful, and not even just the cover, the whole plot, the whole story, their relationship progression, so beautiful. And that book is Promise Me Sunshine. I know we've already talked about it, but it needs to be up there again. It was just so, like, the cover, look at the freaking cover, so freaking beautiful. The oranges, the pinks, them just standing on the boat, and like once you read the book you really understand the cover and its meaning, and when you first read it you're like, oh, it's so pretty, so cute, but then when you get really involved in the story and understand the meaning behind the cover, it just hits so much harder. And I just, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book. I loved it. Ugh, I can't. It was so good. The next question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I have a few. First off, Daisy Hates. I just read Magnolia Parks. I have been wanting to read this whole series for oh so long. Like, this book has just been so hyped. I needed to. That was one of my most anticipated reads, and I ate it up. Very, very entertaining, very drama, very Gossip Girl energy. But now I need to read Daisy Hates before this year is up. I shall read this very, very soon. I'm excited. Okay, the next book. Here's the thing with this series. People go back and forth. Like, I've heard some things about which book to start first, with either the first book or the prequel. So I have gotten the perspective of you should read the prequel first, which is Assassin's Blade in the Throne of Glass series. I really want to read Assassin's Blade just because, like, the main character, I've heard, like, you really get to know her within Assassin's Blade before the story even starts. So I was like, you know what? I already want to be connected to her story, so I fear I'm gonna read Assassin's Blade first. So that will be read before this year has ended. You can count on it. Like, I have been thinking about reading this series for oh so long. Like, I need to read it. I need to, and Assassin's Blade will be read. Maybe even the whole series, but it is a pretty chunky series. We shall see. We're not gonna rush it. We're gonna pace ourselves, hopefully. We shall see, though. And then, last but not least, Love and Other Words. This has been on my list for, I want to say 2 years, and I've heard great things about it. Sarah's rated it 5 stars. I know, and I don't know what she rated it, but India read it and she said it was really, really good. And I think it's time. I'm definitely gonna read this soon, sometime this summer. This is high on the TBR list. It will be read by the time September rolls around. So yes, I'm very excited about that one. Potential 5-star. We shall see. Who knows? I've had quite a few 5 stars this year. So I'm excited. I don't even know. Speaking of 5 stars, the next question is, how many 5-star reads have I read this year? And that is 5 5-stars. This is the most 5 stars I've ever gotten in a year. I think I've maybe gotten, the most before this year was 3, and I think that was last year. And other times I didn't even get a 5-star, which is kind of disappointing. But this year we are getting so many. I feel like I'm reading such good books, and they're really hitting home for me, hitting that mark. And I have so many favorite books this year that I'm going to think about all the time. And of course I'm gonna reread them, obviously. And let me list all of them, because that way you know what to read. The first 5-star is, what was it? Solitaire by Alice Oseman. That was a reread, but I didn't rate it initially when I had read it. So during this reread, I was like, I fear this is a 5-star. Like, this, I think just the series as a whole is very much a comfort series for me. And this book is my favorite Alice Oseman book of all time. Like, I love it. I love Tori. I love her story. Michael and Tori, I freaking love them. I think they're the sweetest of all freaking time. This book is such a comfort book. Like, I love it so much. And then the second one I read, that was a 5-star. I'm pretty sure it was The Book Thief. And that book just changed my brain chemistry. Like, there were no words. That was also a reread, but of course I did not rate it the first read. And because that was just so long ago when I would just read and not rate books. But upon this reread, this was definitely a 5-star. And then I'm gonna have to check for the next one. I don't remember. One moment, please. The next 5-star was My Friends by Frederick Bachman. My first Frederick Bachman book. So that's exciting. I think the story was so sweet. There was emotional moments. I would tear up. It wasn't like bawling my eyes out, but it was such a sweet story, and I feel like I had those like sad moments within the past perspective, and I feel like the found family in it was just so sweet and really hit that mark for me. And I thought the progression of the story was wonderful. You got to see this friend group in the past, and they were just really, really, really there for each other. And then along with present day, it was one of the members of the friend group telling the story to this one girlie, and she was just learning about them and their life and their story. And I just think it was so sweet, and the meaning behind the story was beautiful. Like, it would just really hit that mark for me. Wonderful. The next 5-star was 7-Year Slip. I don't really get, I feel like, a lot of romances that are a 5-star, just because, like, I feel like they follow a lot of the same plot lines. They're very similar. I feel like I just don't connect with the characters in the story as much with a romance. It's more like either fantasy books or literary fiction. Like, those really hit that emotional mark for me, along with the connection I feel towards those characters. But with the 7-Year Slip, I just think it was so sweet, and just seeing their story was wonderful. Like, literally ate that book up. Clementine and Ewan, so freaking cute. And I think there was also that emotional side that really hit my heart with Clementine's story and like what was going on in her life. And I think I felt like I really connected to the characters, and like I love them. I will always think about them. And then with the whole story with like jumping back in time, like that was so interesting to me, and it wasn't like a typical romance. Olive is disturbing me, sorry about that. Which I really enjoyed. I love that magical aspect of it, because it was very giving fantasy to me, and you guys know how I love a good fantasy. I eat that bitch up. And then, of course, my most recent 5-star, The Ballad of Never After. By Stephanie Garber. This was obviously 5 stars. Jackson Evangeline. So cute. So cute. I loved it. Love the story. Love the fantasy. Love the magic. Love the characters. Not all of them. Some of them. And I feel like I really, really connected to their story and what happened with that whole world. So, so sweet. Next question is, what books do I want to reread this year? And I have 2, obviously. First off, Better Than the Movies. I rated this 5 stars last year. Loved Wes and Liz. Like, what?
She just grabbed Lady.
Give her to me.
Lay down.
She tried to kill Lady.
Lay down.
My childhood stuffed animal, if you can't tell. She's raggedy. Anyway. What was I saying? Better Than the Movies. The rom-com was so good, and the slow burn was so good, and I love them. I can't wait to reread this. I have been thinking about rereading it for months now, and I'm definitely going to reread it probably in the fall time, because I feel like it's very fall-esque, and I'm very excited. That is really going to hit the mark for me. Really, really cute. I love them. And then another book that I'm going to reread this year is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I rated this, I will say, pretty low. I don't remember. It was like in the 3-star range. I think, because if you know me, you know I hate a miscommunication trope, hate a third act breakup. Like, it annoys the shit out of me. And when a book doesn't have that, it jumps in the rating. But when it does, it drops. So I think with that book, the miscommunication must have pissed me off. I don't really remember what happened, because it was like 2 years ago, I believe. So I want to reread it just in case like the rating goes back up. I don't know. We shall see. But that's my thoughts on that. I will update my rating. Maybe it'll stay the same. Who knows? But that is definitely a reread this summer for sure. Next question is a book I enjoyed with mixed reviews. Wait, what am I saying? That book is Solitaire by Alice Oseman. I love this book and I'm like literally obsessed with it. Look how pretty the freaking cover is. I'm obsessed with the cover. I think about this all the time. Like, I freaking love it. I've noticed that it didn't get very high ratings overall, but I don't even know. I loved it. This book really hits that mark for me and is such a comfort book. So that's a book I enjoyed, but other people didn't necessarily enjoy it as well. So yes, potential comfort read for you guys, maybe. Definitely give it a try for sure. The last question for this video is my 5-star predictions for the rest of the year. Here's the thing. This one, they're both all series that I have on here. I don't really have potential 5 stars for like just singular books as of right now, but the first book is just like not Magnolia Parks, just like the first book. I'm thinking more like, I don't know what book, but I fear that I might have a potential 5 stars within that series. We shall see, just because I've heard like great things about the found family in that, and if you know me, love a found family. So I'm very highly anticipating a potential 5-star within this series. I don't know what book. We shall see. And along with that, the next book is not necessarily Mile High, but this could be a potential 5-star. I've heard great things about this series, and I'm very excited to read it. Highly anticipated read. I think this could be one of these books at least could be a potential 5-star. I've heard that emotionally destroys people, and I love being emotionally destroyed when I'm reading a book because that rating jumps for sure. So I think there could be a potential 5-star within this series. I try not to go into books thinking that there's going to be a 5-star because then I get disappointed, but it's really hard to when a series is very hyped. And I definitely want this series to hit that mark for me. One book in the series, maybe. But I'm excited. We'll see. We'll see if this is a 5-star. And then the last book, series, books, whatever, within this question is Beartown by Frederick Bachman. I have heard the best things about this whole series. I've heard it emotionally wrecks people, breaks their hearts, shatters their soul, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready to get my soul shattered. I definitely think I could get a 5-star within this series. Like, this will be read in the wintertime. Like, you already know I will be going through it, and I'm so excited to go through it. I'm so excited. Potential 5-star within the series. I'm so excited. And especially since I rated my friends 5 stars, like, I fully believe there could be a 5-star within the series. I'm not even, like, doubting it. Like, I fucking know. If it's not, I'm gonna be so disappointed, but I know. I fully believe this will be a 5-star. Those are all the questions for my mid-year book tag. I hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed talking about books. I love talking about books. I can yap about them for hours. And yeah, definitely give some of these books a read. If you've read any of these or have any recommendations for me, definitely comment them down below so that I can add some books to my TBR and get your own thoughts on them. And yeah, that's the end of this video. I'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that is. And yeah, that's all.